We back, and today I'm talking about this here website. Well, we're talking about Kakera, but that is this here website. As you can see, this is a Kakera value calculator. This is a website that I only discovered recently, but its basis, which is this complicated formula here, which I will attempt to explain a little bit of in a bit, I have known about for quite a while. It is basically the formula for calculating how much Kakera a given character is worth entirely, including keys, number of characters claimed, rank, all the rest of it, right? And this is not official because technically this formula has not been released to the public. It is only known by Saya, but it's pretty accurate, you know. You're going to find that it's going to be accurate, which is quite nice. I don't know exactly how it was come up with, but I believe you can thank Okami on the official Made Discord if you like. I believe they're the one that came up with it. They're certainly the first one that posted it as far as I'm aware of, and I'm pretty sure it was them. So, what is this whole thing? As you can see, we have a couple of fields here. We can put in some data, and it's going to give us the amount of Kakera that a character is worth. So, for example, we have here at the moment the default like rank and claim rank, both 1, 0 claim characters and 0 keys. So this is the amount of Kakera that 02 is worth at the start of a server. New server, that's how much 02 is worth. This is probably a value that you're reasonably familiar with if you use Made plenty, and you're probably aware that at the start of a server, the highest ranked characters are worth about that. You may not know the exact value, neither did I, but there you go. So what we can use this to figure out is how much other characters are worth. So let's say, for example, we want to find the character in 50th. Like rank 50th as well. Let's say we've got a server with 3,000 claimed characters, and let's say they've got 4 keys, and we can discover that the Kakera value, we've got key multiplier 1.2, base value about 1,100, and then Kakera value 1,300. It's a pretty nice website. So if you want to use it, go ahead. Will it actually be too helpful to you? I'm not sure. I'll put the link to the website in the description. Personally, I don't really use this formula or this website for anything. It's just kind of nice to have around. What you can determine, which is quite cool, is if we go back to 1.1 and then you assume that there's a server with every claimed character, e.g. the official Made server, you discover that base Kakera value suddenly becomes 14,000 Kakera, which is pretty tasty. And then you realize that a lot of characters on the official server and ones like it have a few hundred keys, and you get some sort of ridiculous Kakera value like 225,000. That is a character that I would like to own, that's for sure. Remember that every time you roll a key on a character like that, you get their Kakera value up to the gold keys limit, which you can increase with your Kakera towers, and this is the sort of reason why I say that the limit is an amount that you're going to get when you get high characters. It's a pretty nice website. But the point of this video is also simply to discuss what actually affects the value of a character, because I'm sure you all know that claim ranks, like ranks affect the claim character. Most of you know that claimed characters and keys affect the character. This is all fairly basic stuff. If you didn't know that, well, there are some people that don't know that, so you know now, and if you didn't know that, well, go and read info keys. I think we're all caught up, but you can see that they all affect it in different ways. This formula is looking pretty complicated. I'm sure you can agree with that, but I'm going to break it down here because it's actually not very complicated at all. We've got this up here, which is basically just working out, as it says, the key multiplier on a character's Kakera value. So, for example, if there are no keys, the key multiplier is 1, obviously, because it would be 1. That's 1 times whatever value it would otherwise be, key multiplier 1 times. Then if you've got between 1 and 3, but not inclusive of 3, basically 1 or 2 keys, you're adding 10%. So they've written it in a fancy way here, 1 plus 0.1 times y minus 1, where y is number of keys, but it's basically you're adding 10%. If you've got 1 key, it's 1 plus 0.1. Well, no, it's just Right, yeah, sorry, two. My brain. 2 keys. Then it's that. 3 keys, as you can see, not inclusive. 3 keys and onwards, you've got the -3 here, because then you've got 1.1. That's the first 10%, which is the second key. Not the first one, the second key. The first one being embeds, and the third one being orange Kakeras. Anyway, so the second key, and then when you get to the 4th key, you get another 10%. The 5th key is another 10%, and then 6th key, we got gold keys. We get the Kakera bonus on rolling them. So yeah, it's just a complicated way of setting out the amount of bonus that you get from keys. As you can see, once you hit 10 soul keys, well, not soul keys, I mean 10 keys is the amount for a soulless. That's what I was trying to say here. That was just an awful way of saying it. But then you go down to your 5%, as you would be aware. You've got 60% total so far, and then you get 5% plus every key that you get on from there. So this whole thing here is just a complicated way of saying percentages for keys, you know? Again, if you're unsure about that, just read info keys. It's reasonably self-explanatory. What it's done here, for the sake of a shorter formula, we also define R. This is actually not something they did when I first saw the formula, but yeah. Define R as the average between rank and like rank and claim rank. As I'm sure you're aware, both like rank and claim rank do affect rank, not differently either. They both affect it the same, which is why they're out here taking an average, because they do both take the same amount of difference. When a character is super high on the likes and not on the claims, you find that with a lot of Kakera, which is why you find people like Sans being like not even in the top 1,000 for ranks and still worth a few hundred Kakera just because he's top 100 for likes. Although I don't know if that's actually true anymore. He's probably not. Although Deltarune 2 coming out, maybe he'll go up. Not that he's in Deltarune. Anyway, tangent much, huh? So yeah, this is an average of the like rank and the claim rank. And then we've got CM, the Kakera value multiplier caused by the amount of claimed characters. Which is, again, pretty complicated way of just saying it's the amount that they go up when you claim a character. 1 plus the amount of claimed characters divided by 5,500, which seems like a pretty arbitrary number to me, but there you go. So I guess if you claim 5,500 characters, then the Kakera value multiplier goes up by 1. Which is kind of interesting. I assume that means that it doubles. So your Kakera value will double every 5,500 characters claimed. I think that's what that's saying. Feel free to correct me though, I may be wrong there. Well, I say doubles, I mean the first time. The next time it'll go up by what, like 50% or whatever. I mean, you know, it's maths, isn't it? Because you've got the +1 and yeah, maths. Anyway, the first time it doubles. And then we have this nice formula here, which is a whole lot of numbers. Letters, numbers and letters are the same thing. Shut up. Whole bunch of letters here. And then a bunch of arbitrary numbers. We've got a 25,000, we've got a 70, a minus 0.75, a 20, a 0.5, and it is all very complicated, but it's not very complicated, it's just arbitrary numbers. Basically, the TLDR is it depends on the average of the likes and the claims, which we figured out here. It depends on the number of claimed characters, which we figured out the multiplier for here. And it then afterwards depends on the number of keys, which is figured out up here. And yeah, it's got a bunch of stuff here just being like, oh yes, I'm an exponential, ha 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 ha. But in reality, it doesn't matter all too much. It's just numbers. And I'm sure Seiya was very big-brained when they came up with the formula, as was Okami when they copied it. But it's basically just depending on the stuff that you would expect it to depend on. If you are interested, we have a bunch of code down here which just implements the formula, as it says here, implements the formula shown above. So there you go. Very cool. Hopefully that was not too mathsy for you. It's too mathsy for me, apparently. My brain died halfway through. But anyway, It's actually a pretty simple formula, and the best bit is when you get a calculator like this, you don't need to know anything about it. It's actually kind of interesting to have a look at. I would advise you having a closer look at this, just to figuring out things like, oh yeah, this is a 5,500, what's the relevance of this? Because the relevance of this is pretty easy to see. Like I say, you claim 5,500 characters, it goes up. You can relate to that number because you look at the servers that you've got, and you can see, oh yeah, well I've got 4,500 characters claimed, so I can see with relation to the Kakera values that are on my server now, the Kakera values that were there at the start, I can see, oh yeah, they're almost doubled. That makes sense. And now you know why, because you've seen the formula. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to look at, and there's some nice predictions that you can make with that sort of thing. If you really want to be big-brained about it, you could even use it for a trading incentive. I've discussed it before about how you can potentially trade for characters that you think are going up in rank or something like that. Do it like investing, which is totally a thing that you can do, especially buying characters for Kakera and then buying them back, selling them back later when they've gone up in value because of the number of characters claimed. Now you know how many characters will have to be claimed for it to go up. So, very nice. So yeah, if you want to be big-brained about it, this formula could quite easily help you do the maths on that. But personally, I think it probably makes very little difference, which is why I don't use the formula or really relate to it at all. But yeah, you're welcome to. It's here, and like I say, I will leave the link to this in the description. If you just want to mess around with the numbers on here, which I think is a lot more fun than anything else, you're welcome to it. We can just pretend like someone's got like 3 billion keys. Wow, I wish I had a character with 3 billion keys. That'd be fun. Yeah, unfortunately that's not how my day works. In fact, there is a limit on keys, as I discussed in the video a while ago. I believe it's about 3,000. I can't remember. You'd have to check the video from a while ago, and I can't remember which video it is, so sorry about that. But yeah, there you go. There is indeed keys. So yeah, have a look at the website. Have a look at the formula. See how it relates to your server, and see if you can think of any cool way of using it, because that would be cool. But for now, I'm going to leave this one here, because I just wanted to draw your attention to that. Most people don't know it exists, which is understandable because it's kind of hidden, especially what with it not being official. Like I said, I figure that most people probably don't know it exists, but it does, so there you go. Fun. Anyway, bye!